Welcome back, everyone, to this evening's edition of Lehigh Valley Sports Scene. Dan Freemuth back with you here on the Service Electric Network, and very pleased now to be joined by one of our junior track cyclists training and competing over at Valley Preferred Cycling Center this evening. We are joined by Lewis Kopchak, born in Northampton, currently resides in Easton, goes to school in Bethlehem, so he's one of our own. Lewis, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
Let's start with this. You are, as I mentioned off the top, training and competing over at Valley Preferred Cycling Center. Obviously, a huge summer of racing over at T-Town. Let's start simply with how the summer has been for you so far. How has the competition at the Velodrome been for you?
The competition has definitely been tough. There's a lot of talent out there on the track right now, and we're seeing a lot of that show up. So it's definitely challenging, but it's been going really well, and I've really been improving based off what I have done last year. So,
you mentioned that tough competition. That always is the case at T-Town in the summer. The international riders come to town, and we were talking before we came out on set. You've had a chance to interact with a number of them. How cool is that to be around, to get to meet and compete against, I mean, truly some of the top track cyclists on planet Earth?
it is really cool to be able to meet some of these people and really see like what they do in their home country, and see how they grew up in their home country with cycling and how they've developed into who they are now, and being able to ride with them, hearing their stories. It's really cool.
You're 17 years old and you want to make track cycling a profession for yourself. And some of the international riders that come to T-Town, that's exactly what they have done. So how beneficial, how helpful is that for you to be able to pick their brain a little bit, or see kind of what they're all about, knowing that that's ultimately 5, 6, 7 years from now where you'd like to be?
It's definitely cool. Hearing their stories and how they've grown, it's really inspired me to do a lot of things that I'm planning on doing in the future, especially including exercise science, to then become a personal trainer, nutritionist, and or maybe a physical therapist.
You mentioned being able to hear their stories. Let's hear your story a little bit. Take us through kind of how you first got started in cycling. Where did that begin, and how did this passion for track cycling really come about for you?
When I was 6 or 7, I had gone into this program called Pee Wee Peddlers, where it's basically you get a bunch of small kids who want to learn how to ride the track, and they all bring their own bikes, and that really showed me like my second family, like where I want to be. And then after that, I had gone into Beginners Racing League, otherwise known as BRL, and that's when I started racing. That's where my career started, racing there and seeing like all these people and their passion that follows mine. It really helps me grow through that. After that, I had joined actual professional teams, and including the Velo Shop. So after that, I've been growing and growing with the team. So
yeah, it's wonderful, and I love the way you put finding your second family. I mean, you truly have found a spot where you belong, and that is on the bike and as part of the Velo Shop. And let's talk about the Velo Shop now. You've got a tremendous coach in Becky Quinn. So I guess let's start there. How important has Becky been to your development so far and your continued development?
So Becky has been a really great coach for me. She has always been there for me, even if it was not cycling related. If I was struggling with something, she would always be there. She would always say, if you need me, just call me. I'll be there for you. And that makes a more personal connection between me and my coach. And because of that, you're able to get a lot more out of it. And I feel a lot more comfortable training with her and with my other guys and stuff like that.
Yeah. Lewis Kopchak, junior track cyclist, training and competing over at Valley Preferred Cycling Center. Let's stick with the Velo Shop. We talked about Becky, and you mentioned training with the other guys. There are a couple other members of the Velo Shop team who you told me before we came out on set, you basically consider them your brothers.
Yeah.
How important are those guys as far as your development and the bond that you guys have created?
So with my other guys, we go out and we do like these really long road rides, and it really helps us connect together and get closer to each other. And it makes everything a lot more competitive in the team, where like if one guy's gonna go, guess what? We're all going.
Yeah.
We're all sprinting. So it makes it a lot more fun. It makes training less boring, definitely. So
That is wonderful to hear. And you mentioned earlier finding your second family really through cycling at Valley Preferred Cycling Center. One of your other passions, though, is scouting. And you have found a way to marry these two passions of yours, cycling and scouting. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yes, so actually right now I'm in the progress of my Eagle Scout project, which is the last thing I need in order to get my Eagle Scout rank, which is the highest rank in scouting. What I'm doing is I am renewing and adding electrical into the Velodrome. Since the Velodrome has been there for me to show me who I was, I want to give back to them and give them and the racers what they need, what they've been desiring for so long. So I'm adding I'm adding power outlets into the pits to give the racers the option to run fans, coolers, charge their phones, things like that. It makes them feel more comfortable.
That's wonderful to hear. And I mean, you as a cyclist know how important that step is, but then also you from the scouting standpoint, this is part of the leadership that comes with being an Eagle Scout. So it's wonderful that you found a way to kind of marry these two passions of yours. And it also gives you a unique perspective into exactly what would be really beneficial in that pit area for cyclists in the midst of competition.
It's a struggle, really, to be down there in the pits, especially on these really hot days. It really wears us out. We can't really cool down. So being able to have those fans blow cool air on us, it means a lot.
Yeah. So you're currently training and competing as a track cyclist. You are in the midst of your Eagle Scout project. You also go to school at Charter Arts in Bethlehem. And oh, by the way, you have a job on the side as well. I do one of those things, and that is have a job. And my life, I feel, is busy at times. So how do you balance all of these different activities at just 17 years young?
Yeah, so it's definitely rough. I have like this huge journal that I have to record all my activities in. So that way I know what I'm doing that day, and it's all in schedule. So go to school, come home, do schoolwork, go to scouts or cycling, and then have work after that maybe.
Okay.
So it's definitely a lot, but I've been balancing it pretty well on my own.
You also, because that is not quite enough, spent time training rescue dogs as well.
Yes.
How did that kind of come to be? How did that become a passion of yours as well?
Yeah, so I've always been a dog lover, and because of that, I had a Labrador that was pretty wild and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I had taken her to this place called Passion for Paws, and they taught me how to train my dog, to teach her how to be calm and stuff like that. And after spending so much time there, the owner of it actually came up to me and said, "Would you like to help out?"
Wow.
And obviously I took that opportunity to learn things, and from that I've learned how to train dogs.
I want to end with this because we've talked about all the things that you have on your plate, but you're going to go to nationals in California coming up here shortly. But then, per your coach, Becky Quinn, you're going to get a month off. So
Yes.
off the bike, off of training. And we talked before coming out on set about how important that is for your physical well-being, your mental health as well. With the busy schedule that you keep and you get a month off, what the heck do you do with your free time? Like, you just going to binge Netflix for a month or what? What's...
No, I like to try to stay little bit active. I don't like to just sit around. So I'll usually try to go out and like go fishing or go on hikes and stuff like that. Nothing too physically exhausting, but still moving and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hope you enjoy the well-deserved month off. And obviously, until then, best of luck in your continued pursuits at Valley Preferred Cycling Center and, of course, at Nationals in California coming up in just a little bit. Best of luck there. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Lewis, for sharing your story, and best of luck the rest of the summer.
Thank you.
Lewis Kopchak, right here from the Lehigh Valley, junior track cyclist, training and competing at Valley Preferred Cycling Center. Of course, SEN's continued, easy for me to say, coverage of all the goings-on at the Velodrome throughout the summer continue all summer long here on the Service Electric Network. We're back with more Sports Scene right after this.